Hey, how you doing? Had a lot of helicopters flying around out here of late, and this one in particular kind of piqued my interest because as it was flying along, it was at night, of course, right? And as it's flying along, I see a blue light come on the right-hand side of the aircraft, and I just thought, is that just a glitch in the film or the camera or the video that's causing it to do that? So I wanted to investigate that. So I started putting it through some filters, the video, to see if it was just an anomaly or something. And I discovered a couple different things uh, in the process of putting it through these filters, because an hour later, after this one went by, a another craft, so to speak, flew by, and I videoed that in infrared and in color. And this filter brought out something really interesting. You notice out around the light source here is where the disturbance of the atmosphere is, or the reflection, if you will. And right here, these are clear lenses that this light is emanating through. And so the distortion is outside of the lens in the atmosphere. Same thing with the tail lights. Okay, those are all incandescent and they're going through a clear lens. I bring this up for a reason. Here you can see where the light was turned on, and since this is a reverse colors, it's red, okay, but actually it was blue. But nonetheless, it again shows that the light is going right through the lens and disturbing the atmosphere out around it. This is the wheel right here, and these two lights here, the tail light here. You see how all these are void of light in the very center? And so I put the craft that came by an hour later through the same filter on the video, just for the fun of it, and found out something rather interesting. These are disturbing the light at the source and not the atmosphere out around the light. I thought, well, that's interesting. Why would it do that? Long story short, I think that's part of the stealth capabilities that this thing has. When this wants to be seen, you can see it plain as day with your naked eye. And when it doesn't want to be seen, you can't see it at all. I'll show you what I mean later on in the video. Here's one of the helicopters that was going by. Flashed a couple times up there in the front, and not often enough, in my opinion, to be a strobe. I think it was taking pictures. But nonetheless, this helicopter came over during that same time period, and I'm aware that they have a light on the bottom, right? But these outside lights right here is what got my attention. These are, of course, are the running lights. You can tell which way it's going by that. And this strobe on the bottom here, I got to wondering if that's actually a strobe that was going on, or if this isn't some kind of a targeting laser system that can give you three-dimensional images, or it can give you a range finding, technique in order to focus the photograph when it's taken. But maybe, maybe not. But I just thought that was kind of an unusual lighting array on the bottom of that. I don't even know if it was the same helicopter or not. But if it was, look at this thing. This has got all kinds of bells and whistles on it, does it not? I mean, this isn't a cargo bay here in the back like a C-130, is it? Are these exhausts from the jet engine up here on the top? Or are these cameras on the bottom here? Again, this would make me think that that was an image being taken, because this thing has got a ton of bells and whistles on it. This looks like a FLIR, perhaps right here in the front. Of course, this is the pitot tube. This thing's got 7 blades on it. This is a heavy lift, or a helicopter that is capable of staying over the target area for quite a long time. I mean, if these are long-range tanks, which I personally never have seen on a helicopter, I'm not much of a helicopter kind of person, but maybe they are fuel tanks, maybe not, I don't know. First thing I thought when I saw them was that were some kind of side sonar devices, or they could be a range finding or a frequency detector of some kind. Maybe this thing is a CIA and it's designed specifically for hunting out UFOs. Who knows? But this is only one of nearly a half a dozen different helicopters that have been flying around out here lately. But anyway, I think they're flying around to have a look at this thing here. Now, I apologize for the video, but I don't know why this happens the way it does all the time to me, but I'm standing on the right side of the tripod and I'm getting ready to move it, and I look through the lens, I see something, and I'm like, oh, I hit the record button, and I'm like, it's probably just a helicopter. Well, I'm kind of standing on this side, I'm leaning over this way, looking through the camera like this. So I'm in an extremely awkward angle here, so I apologize for the video. Now the color video, the camera is zoomed in about like this, okay, on the target. I'm not looking through that viewfinder, I'm looking through the infrared, and I'm trying to keep it in the center, but the color image sort of runs off track here. But if you'll stay tuned, I'll show you this in slow motion, the color version, part of it anyway, and it's worth watching. But of course, that's my humble opinion anyway. But I think this is the reason that all these helicopters have been flying around out here lately. This thing is pretty incredible, whatever it is. And it showed up several times, and I've got a better color video than the one I'm going to show you right here. But let's focus on this for a second. As you saw when it was going past the spouting there, since that's closer to the camera, it does a really neat light refraction kind of a thing, so you can kind of utilize that as a filter. And so when I zoom in on this screen grab right here, you can see the light positions on this, and it's actually a craft of some kind, and that's sort of what it looks like. So this is the crappy color video of it, and you'll hear me call out the date, same thing as I did in the infrared. I don't know if I talked over top of that during the infrared part or not, but anyway, I was saying that it was September the 1st, 2021, because the infrared camera doesn't have a time stamp on it. So, but if you'll watch the toward the left-hand side of this, you see that? There are a couple lights that appear, and I'll slow this part down and show it to you again. But now they're changing positions. They're more in a horizontal format now than the vertical position they were when it started. See what I'm talking about here? is these two right here. They start out like that right there, and then they move. This one on the top moves over here, and this one moves over this way here. And it's got an incredible array of lights on it or in it. I'm telling you what, I've got a screen grab I'm going to show you too from a month ago. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, when I first saw this, I thought it was a helicopter. So I wasn't really focused on trying to get a good, I just turned on record. And right here, watch. See those up here? Look how many lights are blinking on this thing. And by the way, since it's going off to the right, there should be a green light. Whether that's a helicopter or an airplane somewhere on this side. And I don't see anything that looks like that at all. Now you can see every one of those lights individually is moving. And that's the incredible part to me. This is a screen grab. You can see three of those lights together, almost like they're, I don't know, marbles in a bucket or something. You know what I'm saying? They're really in close proximity to each other, and they're just sort of moving around. And the thing that I found very interesting in these screen grabs here is that every one of those lights, though they're independent, they're all basically changing shape at the same time. And the shapes are relatively the same. You see how there's a pattern of like 3 right there? And now there's like a 6 pattern or a star configuration for each one of those. So the question is, in my opinion, is what does the outside of this thing look like? The rest of it, all we're seeing here is a conglomeration of lights traveling along. So the question is, are they just traveling along a group of orbs or lights together, or is it something there that we can't see? And I think it might look something like that. This is an infrared screen grab from last month that I took. So what I'm suggesting is that these areas right here is where the lights may be. And this hole, if you will, might move around, but I think it's covered with something that we can't see, of course, right here, similar to this material that is capable of going completely stealth, because this was not being able, I couldn't see it unless it was on infrared. So these lights apparently are off here and can't be seen, so they must be covered with something, which explains to me what I was seeing earlier on in that particular filter that I put the video through. In other words, the light was being affected here as it came out, or it didn't come out. Basically, it only came out to this surface right here and lit up. It wasn't doing like the incandescent lights on the helicopter and lighting up the rest of the area out here. It's basically being hidden until it wants to be seen. That's my opinion about it anyway. So I'd like to know what yours is, that's for sure. And if you managed to make it all the way through this long, you're really a trooper. Appreciate it, man. So anyway, thanks for stopping by and having a look, and take care out there no matter what you're doing. And I have some other videos that are a little bit better of that thing, a little more centered for the duration. I've seen it several times, but anyway, thanks again, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you later on.